So what does this mean? Tell me.
Yeah, so 1120B, it sets timelines for the purchase of all co-op apartments in New York City. And the purpose is basically to increase transparency and just give a better perspective on the approval process for the deal parties, right? And it's just to eliminate delays when you submit an application, you kind of like clueless. Where's my application? When am I going to receive, any sort of feedback, or when am I going to get approved? So that's the intention of this legislation. And what it does, it's basically constructed by three key components that I like to think about. The first one will be having the co-op is now going to be responsible of making sure that all information is accessible at request. What do I mean by information? The application, right? With all the documents that are needed, the list of fees. If a co-op has summer recess, it should be clearly listed. We'll talk about that later. And, everything that you can imagine about the application, right? Then we're going to have timelines. The first one is going to be for management. When an application is submitted, they have 15 days to acknowledge that the package has been received. Then the management is going to be able to, review the application, see if anything is missing. Then they can, reply back or notice the applicant that something is missing. Now, this legislation, the first legislation, it's funny because it said that these notifications will have to be done via email or register mail. 1120B changed it. It says now that it has to be via email and registered mail.
But only if there are if it's not approved. So that's my understanding, right? So is that,
Yeah. So if it's complete, you can it's a gray area when you read the law. You can interpret it as it's not necessary, but if you don't send it, then it will be considered complete. Like there
yes.
are no mistakes in the application.
Yes, but if you think about it, so either it can be accurate. The real estate broker has done their job and they have filled it in to the T exactly the way it's supposed to be, providing all the information that they're supposed to provide, right? Or they forgot one statement, or they don't
Mhm.
qualify and they don't meet the board's requirement for the building, which is normally financial reasons, right?
Mhm.
So we have three scenarios, but in scenario one, if if the real estate broker has done a perfect job, then there's no reason not to ignore it and just assume that it's accepted, right? I mean, nobody's going to go to the post office if or send an email if it's been approved.
I mean, it is our interpretation because it does say that it is a requirement that within 15 days you must, it says acknowledgement. It doesn't say acknowledgement of being right or wrong. It's just acknowledge that it has been received.
Yeah.
So our understanding is that you still have to send that letter. And that's what we'll recommend. It's better off to send it than not, right?
But it doesn't have to be registered mail.
It does. It does.
That one has to be, yeah, well,
Yeah.
nobody's going to do that
The
for the ones
one
that
that
have
this,
been approved.
what's funny, the one that it doesn't have to be registered mail is the decision. If they're approved, it can only be sent via email if you want.
Huh.
Yeah.
So if you or whoever entity, the managing agent, the transfer department probably, if they do not get back to them in those 45 days, is that considered that they were approved?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, from speaking to our partners, I think all of them have very healthy timelines right now. There are, of course, some buildings that, if they do have summer recess, as long as, they announce it very clearly. This is when domicile is super helpful because we kind of cover all the great areas, if I may speak about that,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because the first one is being in compliance with making sure that all the applications are listed. A broker, an applicant, whoever can go into domicile and search for that information. It's readily available. It's right away. You don't have to wait. Even due diligence documents, you can buy them and you don't have to call, email anyone. And then what we're working right now with our partners and with different, industry experts is just, okay, well, what's the interpretation of the law right now, right? Because we haven't, July 29 is not tomorrow. We're not going to know how HPD is going to, really take this law, right? So the interpretation right now is let's set up this deadlines, this timelines, and we're going to be very transparent to all the deal parties involved, to the broker, to the buyer, the seller, anybody that has access to the application is going to see that big timer, right? And you're going to get reminders, especially for the boards, right? The boards are going to get about 4 reminders we're designing, so nothing is missed. And even if there's something missing in the application on the requirements, right? It's going to be very clearly flagged, like, hey, you forgot to attach your financials or whatever it is. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great for any broker or applicant working with our system because we want to facilitate that transparency to them.
That's so your system. I have followed your system for a long time. I met your founder, Jim,
Tim, yeah, Tim Bruni.
uh, because he was pretty new in the industry at the same time that we were new in the industry. So we kind of started, he started a year earlier than us. But it's a fantastic, and at the time it was called Board Packager.
Yeah,
And that's it for anyone who's any of our listeners. Board Packager basically provides the board packages on the behalf of, well, the real estate brokers put them in there, right?
correct. Yes,
And
yes.
then it's moved through the process so that the board, first the managing agent or the transfer agent get the notification. They need to do their review, and then they send it to the
To the board.
board, and then the board need to do their review, do the schedule the interview and the whole thing, and then they approve it, and then it's done, and then we're done. And hopefully that's within 15 days and 45 days, right?
Yes.
That's it. So you must be play such an important part in enabling so many people getting this done.
Yeah, like you said, it is a big piece. It's going to be a big lift, and we're just talking to everyone. And like I said, we also want to, make sure that even co-op buildings that don't have a property management.
Yes, let's talk about self-managed buildings for a second here.
Yeah.
Because are you the ones who are informing them about this, the law and what needs to be done? Or how does that, you're corresponding directly with those boards, self-managed boards?
Yeah, so we do have a couple of buildings in our system that are self-managed buildings. And excuse me, of course, we are, doing our best to communicate this everywhere.
Let's talk about, in your experience, how many boards have very clear guidelines or boards, yeah, buildings. How many boards or buildings have a clear guidelines on what their application, what the application entails, or what would disqualify an owner or a buyer, or versus I hear from real estate brokers, sometimes they say, oh, this building, they don't have an admissions policy. I'm like, how can you not have it? How can a board not have an admissions policy?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very good question. I think the reason why we created back then Board Packager, now Domicile, is because we wanted to provide that transparency.